Hi, my friends. So we're still Friday, still on chapter 8. I'm sorry, I just talked too much in the beginning there, forgetting that these chapters are very long. So we ended on verse 34 when the man that was possessed of devils was talking to Jesus. And I mean, the uh, the legion was cast out of him, of this poor man. And now he's sitting with Jesus, okay? So let me just back up here a little bit. So 30, let's start with 33 real quick. Then went the devils out of the man and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the lake and were choked. When they that fed them saw what was done, they fled and went and told it in the city and in the country. Then they went out to see what was done, and came to Jesus, and found the man out of whom the devils were departed, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid, because they knew how this guy was, okay? I mean, and they just didn't know how in the world, right? And so when they saw it, told them by what means he that was possessed of the devils was healed. Then the whole multitude of the country of Galileans round about besought him to depart from them, for they were taken with great fear. And he went up into the ship and returned back again. So they couldn't even handle it, okay? Now the man of whom the devils were departed besought him that he might be with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, Return to thy own house, and show how great things God has done unto thee. And he went his way, and published throughout the whole city how great things Jesus had done unto him. So he became a witness, for the Lord. Missionary, okay, witness. And so he came to pass that when Jesus was returning, the people gladly received him, for they were all waiting for him. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue. And he fell down at Jesus' feet and besought him that he would come into his house. For he had only one daughter, about 12 years of age, and she was lay a-dying. And as he went, the people thronged him. They mobbed him, okay? And a woman having an issue of blood, 12 years, which had spent all of her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any of them, by them, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched, or was healed, okay? And Jesus said to, Who touched me? And all had denied, Peter and they that were with him, saying, Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee, and you say, Who's touched you? God has such a sense of humor. I just love him. And when the women, and Peter too, and when the women saw what she had not hid, she came trembling and fell down before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace. Okay. And while he yet spoke, there cameth one from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, Thy daughter is dead. Trouble not the master. But when Jesus heard it, he answered him, saying, Fear not, believe only that she shall be made whole. And when he came into the house, he suffered no man to go in, save Peter and James and John, the father and the mother of the maiden. And all wept and bewailed her. But he said, Weep not, she is not dead, but sleepeth. And he laughed him to scorn, knowing that she was dead. And he put them all out, and took her by the hand, and called, saying, Maid, arise. And the spirit came again, and she rose straightway. And he commanded to give her meat. And her parents were astonished, but he charged them that they should tell no man what was done. The song comes in my head. Listen, do you want to know a secret? I don't know why. Anyway, Jesus did not want people to know, because he's being thrown everywhere he goes. He's being mobbed, okay? And he knows, his spirit probably knows by this time what he has to do and what he has to go through. And so he doesn't want he wants to fulfill the prophecies. He doesn't want that stopped. So that's why he tells them. He knows that they're going to go and tell. He already knows, but he tells them anyway, because he's fulfilling the prophecy, okay? And so Christ sent out his apostles. Herod is desirous to see him. And so this is chapter 9, by the way. Okay, so then he's called his 12 disciples together, gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. And he sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. And he said unto them, take nothing for your journey, neither staves or scrip, neither bread, neither money, neither 2 coats apiece. Just what you have on your back. That's all you take with you. And whosoever's house you enter into, there abide, and hence then depart. And whosoever shall not receive you, then you go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet for a testimony against them. And they departed and went through the towns, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard of all that was done by him, and he was perplexed, because it was said of some that John was risen from the dead. So now he's confused, okay? And some that Elijah had appeared, and others that of the old prophets was risen again. And Herod said, John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things? And he desired to see him. And the apostles, when they returned, told him all that they had done. And he took them and went aside privately into a desert place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. And the people, when they knew it, followed him. And he received them and spoke unto them of the kingdom of God, and healed them that had need of healing. And when the day began to wear away, they came the 12, and said unto him, send the multitude away, that they may go into the towns and country round about and lodge, and get victuals. For we are here in a desert place. So, anyway, okay. And so then he said unto them, give ye them to eat. And they said, we have no more but 5 loaves and 2 fishes, except that we should go and maybe buy meat for all of these people. And there were about 5,000 men, okay? And he said unto that, not including women and children, all right? And he said unto his disciples, make them sit down by 50s in a company. And they did so, and they made them all sit down. And he took 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed them and broke and gave to the disciples to set before the multitude. It's just so beautiful. And when they did eat, they were all full. They were taken up fragments and remains to them 12 baskets. Still had plenty afterwards. And it came to pass, as he was alone praying, his disciples were with him, and he asked them, saying, whom saith the people that I am? Then they answering said, John the Baptist. But some say Elijah, and others say that you're one of the old prophets is risen again. And he said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? And Peter answered, said, the Christ of God. And he straitly charged them and commanded them to tell no man the thing. in saying, the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be slain, and be raised on the third day. So that's why he didn't want it out there, didn't want it known, because he had to fulfill the prophecy. And he said unto them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross daily, and follow me. Whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. For what is a man advantage if he gain the whole world and lose himself, or be cast away? For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, and when he shall come in his own glory, and in his Father's, and of the holy angels. But I tell you of truth, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see the kingdom of God. And it came to pass about 8 days after these sayings, he took Peter and John and James, and went up into a mountain to pray. And as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment was white and glittering. Cool. And behold, they talked with him 2 men, which were Moses and Elijah. So who appeared in glory, and spoke of his decease, which he should accomplish at Jerusalem. So they really, I think they just came to reassure him, to bolster him up, to give him the strength that he was going to need to go through this horrific death. And we don't have any idea, just unless we were actually there, just how horrific this was going to be for him. And not just that, but spiritually too. The magnitude of wanting the whole world to come to know him, and that the only way that this was going to be accomplished was for him to go through this. And so it came to pass that they departed from him, and Peter said unto Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah, not knowing what he said. And thus spoke, there came a cloud and overshadowed them, and they feared as they entered into the cloud. Needless fear, of course. And there came a voice out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. And when the voice was past, Jesus was found alone, and they kept it close, that no man in those days any of those things which they had seen. So they didn't talk about it at all at that time. And it came to pass that when the next day, when they were come down from the hill, much people met him. And behold, a man of the company cried out, saying, Master, I beseech thee, look upon my son, for he is mine only child. And lo, a spirit taketh him, and he suddenly cried out, and it teared him, and he foamed again, and bruising him hardly departed from him. And I besought thy disciples to cast him out, and they could not. And Jesus answered, said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long will I be with you and suffer you? Bring thy son hither. And he was yet a-coming, and the devil knew him down and tear him. And Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit, and healed the child, and delivered him again to his father. And they were all amazed at the mighty power of God. But while they wondered every one at all things which Jesus did, he said unto his disciples, Let these sayings sink down into your ears, for the Son of Man shall be delivered into the hands of men. But they understood not the saying, and it was hid from them, and they perceived it not. And they feared to ask him of that saying. And when they arose and reasoned among them, which of them should be the greatest, Jesus perceived the thought of their heart, and took a child, and set him by him, and said unto them, Whosoever shall receive this child in my name receives me, and whosoever shall receive me receiveth him that sent me. For he that is least among you all, the same shall be great. And John answered and said, Master, we saw